I love living in Miami. So many eclectic and hardworking people that make up this beautiful city. But all too often, we only see people in snapshots. Rarely do we see the struggles and L's, not necessarily losses, but rather lessons that led them to where they are today. And I can't wait for y'all to meet our Woke Wednesdays guest. He's a successful entrepreneur. He's going to share his story, his struggles, and victories. His name is Mr. Cesar Morales. He is the founder of the Miami Bar Group. He also owns and operates Tavern, Valentina's Pizza, BND Burger, Miami Mojito Company, Rosas, Tayrona Restaurant and Patio, and of course, the up-and-coming pizza and beer. What was your first kind of entrepreneur experience here in Miami?
2001, I opened up Kiss Cafe in Coconut Grove, and it was a restaurant lounge. The idea then was make it super trendy, high-end, upscale, somewhat, expensive, and
the Grove was popping back then.
It was a good era back then, and but the business actually lasted 2 months.
So 2 months in, you end up closing.
Yeah.
So what happens after that?
I was able to scrounge up a little bit of money from my mom to continue the business under a new name, strictly as a bar. That was called Home Night Spot. Nobody knows about it. It was whatever. So then that lasted 5-6 months. I ended up moving back to Atlanta. My mom called me. She needed a manager at a new restaurant she had opened right next door to her little bodega on the same shopping center.
Was it tough moving back? Because sometimes, especially when we're in our 20s, we kind of feel like, man, these two things didn't work out for me. Like, am I a failure? Like, am I a failure for going back home? Like, did these kind of thoughts go through your mind? Or was it kind of like, hey, you know what? No, I'm gonna go home and do this.
I need to share before Miami, because before Miami, I threw parties in Atlanta when I was 18, 19. And I was really into the production side of the party. Like, I wanted to really give a good experience. At the time, trance was a thing. I flew down Georgia Costa. I don't know, it was a thing in the 2000s, Shadow Lounge and whatnot. That party didn't go well. Lost a bunch of money there. Shortly thereafter, I did a party with DJ Laz and Zog from Paradigm 6. Flew them down. That party, I don't know, probably lost a couple $1,000s, but at the time, that's a lot of money, especially when you're making ends meet.
That's a lot of money right now.
True. So that was the last straw. Once I did that last party and I lost, I moved down. I've had probably more L's than W's, and I think that's normal. If you look at the Michael Jordan stats, how many shots did he miss? How many did he make? All that good stuff. So that's never been a thing for me.
Even before the interview, you said giving up is not an option.
It's not an option.
And so it seems like you were this kind of ingrained in you early on.
Yeah, because no matter what, it keeps moving. I mean, that is my motto. I mean, whatever happens, no matter, obviously we're living in a pandemic that we've never experienced in our lifetime, and you make the best of it, you keep moving, So
when was like your first big W that you're like, you know what, I think I'm onto something right now?
So I moved back to Atlanta. I actually opened up in the same shopping center that my mom had her little bodega. She opened up the restaurant. She also opened up a banquet hall, like for quinces and for weddings or bautizos. And she did that for a few years. And
your mom too is entrepreneur all the way.
For sure. My dad too, but yeah, I got a lot from my mom, that's for sure. Strong, independent woman. She was at a point where she was now getting close to retiring. She wanted to move back home to Colombia. She was tired. I convinced her to let me take over that space, and I did a bar. I did that for about a year. It broke even. When I moved back, I said, screw this, I'm gonna get a job. I'm done,
So now you're kind of in your late 20s. Late 20s?
Yeah.
All right.
So 26, 27, mid-20s. I got a job for 1 week. I'm in this office setting, and there's tons of rules. If you do this, you gotta do this. If you leave, you gotta sign out, come back. Like, I wasn't used to that structure.
Yeah.
And I said, wait a second, if I apply this same discipline and structure to my own business, the flyer business is what I was thinking, and I got something. So around the time that I'm thinking about quitting this job, I got a couple of calls from friends to do flyers. And I would make, I don't know, $75 a flyer. So I'm thinking, okay, if I do 3 or 4 flyers, I'm gonna make the same amount of money that I make in this job, and I'm working for myself. And full force or full energy into the flyer business. I got a website for, it was $15 a template. And
you're designing flyers. Like
I'm designing flyers,
design.
I'm printing, and and I started making a little bit of money. I'm like, oh crap, okay, so that's when, okay, I'm onto something. After 8 years of the printing business, I was really burnt out on it. I'm fanatical about customer service, and I was glued to the computer. Back then it was BlackBerry. So I'm always checking emails, I'm always on top of things. Even though I had a full staff, people would still look for me.
Yeah.
And I decided that whatever I would do next would be something that I was passionate about.
One thing that I'm hearing is that sometimes we become so like committed to an idea that we kind of are afraid to let it go. But it seems like one thing that throughout your story, it's like, okay, like knowing when to be like, all right, you know what, it's time to maybe move on. It's maybe time to switch it up a little bit.
I'll give you, yes, I agree with you. I agree with that mentality. I subscribe to it. Perfect example, Tayrona, I just opened it up 2 months ago. It's a Colombian restaurant, bar, lounge in Alapata. The concept, super chill, it's outdoors. It's
Is another business you opened?
Yes, yes. I wanted it, the idea was not to have DJs, the idea was to have more like ambient background music and just chill. That was, you eat, you have drinks. I added DJs 2 weeks ago. Wasn't part of the original game plan. It took off. I added DJs because that's what people were asking for. Or customers, they tell you what they want. You know, so all you do is you cater to their needs.
So where did the name Wood Tavern come from?
A friend of mine came up with that name. The friend that I did Kiss Cafe with. So Winwood.
Okay.
What I learned from Kiss Cafe, I did everything the opposite at Wood Tavern. Everything. Price point, it was a traditional concept versus trendy and modern and sleek.
It's chill, super chill.
Super chill. The names that I was looking into, I noticed that a lot of the places, be it in Miami or in Atlanta or in different parts of the country, that had the name Tavern in them have been around for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So I knew I wanted Tavern in the name. My friend, came up with Wood, short for Winwood, Wood Tavern. And the concept going in was something that I wanted it to be timeless. So of course the name had to be part of it, the decor, the vibe, wood on the inside and things like that, very cozy. But the name was from my best friend.
So now we're here, pizza and beer, new place. You've had all these venues. Why now this? What is it about this place now that you wanted to recreate a different magic?
I was telling you before that I always look for a competitive edge, and I always look at the landscape and what's out there, what's missing, what's lacking, and pretty much everything in Winwood now that has some kind of outdoor space, has a DJ, dance floor, and it becomes a party on the weekends. And before, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, you had people more into the beer side of the business, more into the beer garden situation, and I'm going full circle.
So you said, you're always trying to stay competitive. How do you stay competitive in a place like Miami that is, it's a party city, in a place like Winwood, it's a party district? How do you stay competitive?
I've always looked at what's lacking and let's just offer it. Like it's simple, supply and demand.
Do you think that it becomes easier to open up a new venue since you have all this experience now? Or is this still sometimes like it's difficult?
That's a good question. The permitting process with the city and the county and going through architects and construction is still very challenging. I've been doing it for a while. I do have the experience. I do have a good team together, and it's still very challenging.
What has been one of your most memorable experiences as just an owner of these amazing venues?
I remember the early Art Basels at Wood were amazing. Not that the new ones aren't, but those are special. It was the beginning. I don't know if it was 12 or 13 actually, that it started raining and people danced in the rain. I filmed it. It's one of my memories.
You still have the footage?
Absolutely, yeah. I repost it like every couple of years. It was really cool. Overall, I personally enjoy seeing people enjoy something that I created.
Yeah.
And that's really, really special to me.
Now there was something really special that happened too just a couple minutes ago. A gentleman walked up asking for employment, and you were number one, approachable, you were accessible, and you were very welcoming.
Thank you.
And how important is that to you? You said that you value customer service a lot, but even now, there's this humility to you. How
I
important
got that
is
from
to
my
keep
mom.
that?
I got that from my mom because my mom, to this day, in her my mom sold the restaurant that I went back to Atlanta to work with. She sold
Oh,
that.
wow.
She ended up selling the banquet hall. So to this day, my mom only has a little 700 square foot little bodega, and that I grew up in. And she has some of the employees, or one employee in particular, that's been with her like 25, 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's the way that she's always treated the staff that I learned that. I grew up seeing it, you know, and yeah, it may sound cheesy, corny, cliche, but I mean, it's teamwork. It's always about, it's never been about titles and hierarchy and it's let's do this together. I think that's like the main thing.
I would love to know, what are some things that you could kind of tell young people or anyone who's trying to open up their own venue? What's something like a closing message that you would tell them?
It's hard work. Have to be resilient. Have to have a strong mental game, knowing, hey, I'm gonna open up this business. It may or may not go how I intend. Maybe I wanna, in the first 6 months, I wanna sell this much. Maybe you don't. Maybe you may fail at the first business. Learn from it, learn what you could do differently next time. May take a few years to regroup from that loss, but go at it again.
Man, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thank you
you
for having
opening
me.
your doors to us.
My pleasure.
Thank you all for watching. We are here with Woke Wednesdays, and stay woke, and we'll see y'all soon.